it helps that she was in grief in
Yeah.
some way. But
Yeah.
what stage would you call her in? What stage was she in with that grief?
Whenever it was, she just seems stuck. So the stages are anger, denial, acceptance. That's out of order.
Yeah,
right?
no, you can go through whatever stage you feel like going through at that time.
Here's another question.
He was like, those three are top three.
Wait, there's two more.
There's
right?
anger. There's
Drinking.
drinking.
There's texting your ex. Oh no, is that?
Yes, I was gonna say sex. There's sex somewhere in there.
Okay, today we're talking about Sentimental Value by director Joachim Trier out of Norway, produced by Gateway Studios, which is a Norwegian production house. It was released just a couple of weeks ago, November 7th. It stars Renate Reinsve, Stellan Skarsgård, Inga Ibstadter Lilias, Elle Fanning, and a really great actor, Anders Danielsen Lai. We're going to talk about a little bit more. Just over 2 hours, budget of $7.8 million. The box office, Mia, is just $1.78 million today. But as we just talked about with Frankenstein, these films are not making a lot in theaters. So are these,
But
criteria
Joey,
even
is it about
as relevant anymore?
It's kind of a combination of it's like a business. It's like, how much did you spend on this?
Right.
And I think they were using their cousins' houses, so they were getting some deals. So that doesn't sound, oh my God,
For
that's
sure.
tanking. I don't think they spent much money on it.
Well, what it recalls for me is The Brutalist, which was made for 10 to 15 million, and it was a killer film. There's such potential in that 10-ish million range.
Yeah.
You don't need 120, you don't need 200. I mean, Avatar Fire and Ash is, I don't know, hundreds, and we'll see that in a couple of weeks.
Right.
But what did you think? What were your overall impressions?
When this film started out, I liked the intensity. I liked the pacing of it. There's just this mystery of like, okay, where is this going to go? We all saw the previews, and no lie, I was slightly bored by the previews.
I hear you.
I was not sure if I was going to like this. But this movie did not lose me. I wasn't ready to take a nap. I was not.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a killer for me. I'll never see this again.
Oh.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
So a year from now, if somebody comes over and they hadn't seen that, you would say...
No, let me give it to you. You're at a hotel. You're in a completely boring state.
Right.
Possibly boring country, but it does happen to have HBO. And all of a sudden, you don't have anywhere to be. You have nowhere you want to walk to. The city sucks. And this movie comes on. I'm going down to the lobby.
I see.
I am going to go do something else. We've all been trapped somewhere. And hell, you're on an airplane. You've seen Dirty Dancing. I don't want to watch Moonlighting again, but Sentimental Value did this. Moonlighting wasn't so bad. Or hell,
Right.
I think I have a podcast saved.
Yep.
I'm not watching this movie again.
So was it what you expected?
I had no expectations
Okay.
whatsoever. I recognized the actors, and I knew that there was going to be something about it that was going to give me a performance. And I think it did deliver with performances. It really did. It just wasn't a movie I will ever need to watch ever again. Does that make it bad?
I didn't know that you felt that strongly in the couple days after we saw it. That's really funny.
No, it's just I watched it. I'm glad I saw it. We'll never see it again.
Never see it again. Yeah. The film features the story of these two daughters, Nora and Agnes. They are the daughters of this now famous filmmaker, dad, and he left their family when they were little because of conflict with the mom. And then there's this house. That's a third generation house. Goes back to some Nazi history. The grandma was in camps. She comes back. There are some deaths that have taken place in the house. And it's a really quiet drama. It's not like a lot of other stuff that's out there, but it is very muted. Was that part of it?
Hold on, Joey. I'm listening to you say all this. So why did you go see it? Like, you're saying, I'm like, wait, you saw the same trailer as me.
Right.
But you went to go see it. Come on, what teased you into the theater?
The buzz is probably the first thing. It was the Grand Prix winner at Cannes this year.
Okay.
It is the People's Choice Award from TIFF in September. It's going to be Norway's official submission to the 2026 Oscars. It might pick up a Best Picture nomination. The Rotten Tomatoes score as of a week ago was 96%. Metacritic is 89, and IndieWire named it 21 on the list of best 100 films. So just kind of like with One Battle, this has done great. And what is it about it that has wowed audiences? You know, so I went into it with all of that buzz, and I'm not too far off from you. I would see it again, but it's not Joachim Trier's best. I've seen a couple.
You would watch it again.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get up. You wouldn't fall asleep. You'd be sitting through that whole thing.
I would probably be playing my New York Times game.
Yes, come on.
Sure.
We're talking today.
And if I went to use the restroom, I wouldn't pause it. You know, yes, I hear you. I don't want to overpraise it. I do think Stellan Skarsgård is the best thing. I think it's a wonderful performance by him.
I enjoyed him.
Yes.
There wasn't a single time he wasn't on screen that I didn't enjoy him.
Yeah.
I thought his character had so much dimension. It was, sometimes you get that very caricatured, I'm a deadbeat type dad with a career character.
Sure.
And you just go, I've seen this guy before. I didn't feel like I'd seen this guy. He's somebody I would have worked with. He's someone who would have been your manager. The way that he played the character, he was very real. This is what real deadbeat dads can look like sometimes.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They come back into your life and they want a relationship.
Right. But even, us at the office and in the public, we're like,
sure.
He's so funny and he's so real and he's so like, he look at the pictures of his kids on his desk and he made this amazing, we would see that side, and this person would be someone we'd be excited to grab drinks, dinner with.
Sure. He's interesting. Yeah, he's talented. He's accomplished.
He was relaxing.
Oh.
He was low. He wasn't high maintenance.
Yeah, his presence was pretty even.
There wasn't this big ego where he needed everybody to, he seemed pretty self-aware of where he sat in time and in work. But I'm like, this is what deadbeat dads look like. They're You know what I mean?
Yep. Do you remember the film Louder Than Bombs? It had Jesse Eisenberg. It was about a family tragedy.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Louder Than Bombs.
I did not see it. There's another kind of supernatural film called Thelma. These are some of Joachim Trier's more mainstream entries. But what he's really known for is a couple of years ago a film called The Worst Person in the World. Do you remember that?
No, but it sounds like somebody I know. I think I know this person.
She won Best Actress at Cannes for that, and that features the same actress, Renate Reinsve, and she plays a woman in Oslo who's working and she's dating, and it's just kind of a normal life movie, but it's about relationships, romantic relationships, and in that film, she had a really rich part, a textured part. But I will agree with you that the two girls, the daughters, Agnes a little bit more, she's the academic researcher, but the performer, it feels like she didn't have a lot to do. It was kind of mopey.
You really have to embody these characters and make them feel natural. And I think everybody delivered on that front.
Okay.
I felt I was sold in that home.
performances.
I just wasn't sold by their, I guess there's this, how do I say it? When you had a really bad childhood,
Right.
a lot of times you don't really know because you don't know a lot of, that's all you knew. That's what you grew up with. And so a lot of times you just tend to get on with things, right? And so when you open up this particular film and she's having panic attacks and she's having, there's this sort of illicit sex that she needs to have and this sort of vibe. I didn't find it unbelievable, but I did think to myself, her kind of like keen awareness of how like fucked up I really am. I was like, that requires something else. That requires, and a lot of people who had bad childhoods, it requires something to be happening right now.
Right.
And so by the time she's having this panic, you're kind of like, what? It helped that we have a funeral. the very opening of this film where she's coming face to face with her dad. That helped me a little bit.
Sure.
But she just, I don't know. There's some people I'm like, it's almost like being fucked up is their personality. And I was hoping
That's
that wasn't
frame it, I think.
going to be, and it was
the
character.
Well, and it's contrasted by her sister Agnes, who, yes, Agnes seems to be holding space for some pain of her childhood, but she has a job and she can still see the dad and not fall apart. And she has a husband and a son. She's not stuck in the way that her sister was.
Right.
And to clarify, their childhood, it's not like they suffered direct abuse, but they overheard the parents fighting a lot. There's that iron stove in this house, and it becomes sort of a portal. Yeah. You can come close to the stove, and you can hear the voices of other parts of the house. And that trope is repeated a couple of times.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying that if you're a child and you hear your parents fighting, that you should just get over that. That's traumatic, especially with
it's
what
scary.
we see.
Yeah, it's scary.
But the dad leaves, and they're raised by, a good mom, and then they're in Oslo, this nice city. So, and she's a successful stage actress. She's at the National Theatre of Norway. That's one thing that Trier likes to do, is he's showing us these national institutions, which is great because a lot of us don't know a lot about Norway, Oslo, any of that stuff. And we're seeing in this first kind of gripping scene, she has stage fright, and she's not coming out of her dressing room, and she finds the guy in the cast she's hooking up with and says, let's hook up right now.
Right.
Did that scene, was that effective for you? I mean, I think that
No, it was not. And I'm going to tell you, I think I was telling you, like, not too long ago, it was like, I kept thinking about Birdman. Birdman delivers this same type of neurotic character going on. It just delivers it so much better.
Energy, yes.
You get the same kind of like, we all, like, she's just like, get me out of this stress. You get that same energy with Birdman, where he's just like trying to tap into his character, work with his co-stars. He has all of these relationships off the stage and behind the scenes. He has a daughter that he's dealing with who's giving him a hard time.
But she's also very vibrant and active, and she has teeth, and she
but when you really look at it, the whole film is more set around that play, the stage, the making of this story, his story. But quite frankly, there's so much there. You don't need all this backstory. You don't need as much setup, because the actors, the script, everything kind of hands that over to you with the intensity of having to go on stage or jump into characters. So I was kind of like, I've seen this done better.
Yep.
I
think that's fair.
It's been done better.
Yeah. What did you think of her sister? So we've been talking about Renate Reinsve. She was in Worst Person in the World. Anybody who has seen that will recognize it. Yeah. Her sister plays a bit more grounded, perhaps more mature character. Did she work for you? Did that character work for you?
Oh, yeah. She softens something up. She kind of humanizes some things. True. But, I mean, hold on. So it's like, okay, because, I'm a sister. I hate when sisters get compared.
That's true.
But for you, were you comparing these two women? Like, were you comparing the sisters for, like, who was, like, the crazy one? Who was the smart one? Who was the, like, probably more successful one? Was that going on in your head?
I arrived at their relationship a little bit more demographically. I have two sisters. They both have kids. Right. I don't have kids. I'm into performance and putting on shows and parties. I'm not hung up like Nora is, but I kind of looked at it as, are we suggesting that because someone does not choose that traditional path that they're upset? I don't think that's what the film is doing, but that felt like it lingered a little bit.
Maybe that has something to do with the setting, though.
You're
in a country where maybe that is the lifestyle that makes the most sense and is the most practical.
Right.
Even if you do have an acting career or you're a director, maybe that's something that is a part of the culture, which is that you find partners and you make family. So I would say with your sisters, they don't live here in New York.
Right.
So I think if you lived,
good point.
You lived where if you were living where, your sisters were living, I don't know if you would feel so confident in your lifestyle.
Great point. Great point. I mean, we see Nora at there's a scene where she's alone in her apartment. The takeout boxes are piling up. She's very sad.
Yeah.
Whereas Agnes has a bit more, warmth in her home, and she has a son who's very cute, and she has a husband who's not a deadbeat, but he's just kind of on the fringes. We don't see a lot about the husband.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about the timeline. There's a plot line in the 40s, there's a plot line in the 80s, and then there's a plot line today. So it has this, I did think that was nice, that elliptical feeling, almost like a Russian doll feeling of this, the grandmother, the mother, and then these daughters. How did that framing
It was the
work
way
for
they
you?
laid it out that it just was like, oh, now you're just giving me excuses. Okay, because you cracked me up about the end where they were doing the flashes of the faces.
Oh my gosh, do not even
But
start
honestly,
with
that was an
stuff.
interesting visual that I think they could have played with that more with the timelines.
Yeah.
Right? Shown me like
That's true.
that same thing with the house. And then I would have understood, okay, whoa, I just saw a flicker of that house across 3 generations, or show me the flicker of. So there was some things that I was like, oh, that it could have worked if they layered it in, like, this is how we're planning on telling you this story. But it started to show up like an excuse, like, oh, no wonder Dad said.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder it's kind of weird.
Right.
And even with his script, because he tricks Elle Fanning in that moment.
Right.
And it's like, we don't know what he's reaching for in this.
Sure.
But there was something about it that I think they got right when they showed his film at the festival very early on.
Scene.
And then he's like, that's my daughter. And we just see that time pull forward and back. But when you do it like those flashes, I feel like I'm watching a Lifetime movie.
I see. So that felt a bit canned or... Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's an early scene in the movie when there's a screening of Borg's film, and then he's interviewed after it. The film is from earlier in his career, and in that film, he cast his daughter Agnes in this child role, and she was very powerful, but she did then not pursue acting.
Right.
Fast forward, he shows up in Nora's life. He's written a screenplay, and he wants to shoot this film in the house.
Right.
He wants his actual daughter Nora to play it, and she says, "No, there's no way I'm gonna do that. I can't work with you. We can't communicate." So, as you mentioned, Elle Fanning is an American actress. She's very popular. So Borg gets her to play his daughter, and it's going to be produced by Netflix. So there's kind of some meta commentary going on.
Right.
I do want to talk about the house because that is it's supposed to be a main character. Right after this quick break. Okay, I want to talk about this house. I had read that the production designer, Jorgen Stangby Larsen, had looked at over 100 houses with Trier. And then they found this house, which features at the beginning of the film, like a 5-minute walk from where Trier lives with his wife and small kids in Oslo. And in the beginning, the film features a voiceover, which we'll talk about in a couple minutes. He does use in some of his other films. But the house is interesting. It's in this urban area, but it's clearly more Victorian or more, old and historic. Trier was a skater in his 20s, and he used to film some of his buddies skating, and so his camera is moving a lot. And the way that they do these dolly shots, kind of coming around a bush, and you see the corner of the house with windows that kind of look like eyes. And the voiceover personifies the house. Personifies? Anthropomorphize? When you give an inanimate object human qualities.
Right.
The house is listening. The house felt heavy, but then when the dad left, the house feels light. So they set this up, but then there's some scenes in the house after that, but there's these long stretches where we're not in the house and we don't end it. The ending does go there, but I wanted more of the house. I don't know. Did that play at all for you?
This did not play at all for me.
Okay.
I feel like the house was missed completely.
Okay.
Because they wanted to capture these very emotional, performances. So the camera is tight. Everything is very up close.
That's a great point.
And it's
absolutely
on the
true.
people. But really, when you go in, when they would first kind of, if it's like 2 or 3 or a group of people in a room, you're like, I want to feel this room.
I know, me too.
But you never do.
Yep.
You never do.
Yep.
Even the room where she supposedly, we get the idea that grandmother, came to her fate, it's like you're kind of like, I still don't get a feeling for where this room is, what it is. I don't really feel the layout.
Yep.
I almost get the feeling there's this sort of upstairs, and I'm like, maybe I saw a kitchen and a little kitchenette.
There was an upstairs. Were we even ever up there?
No, it's just
right.
like this
Bizarre.
house is just not used properly.
They presented it so lovingly, and they even built a 3D model with VFX of the house and the exterior, so that when we saw there was a grandfather who died there, and then a mother gave birth to a child in the same room, and then somebody else hangs herself in that room, and the production designer had 5,000 photographs of Oslo that his grandfather had taken between the 40s and the 90s. So they apparently have been painstaking about the view outside the window and making it look 40. Like, they put a lot of time into this for it not to have been used the way that they pointed us in the direction of expecting, so...
And this is that moment where I feel like some people are so into their photography, they stop telling a story. And it's like,
oh,
you
interesting.
can't just, I get that you built this 3D model, but tell me a story.
What for? I know.
And I honestly feel like if it is this character, what is its arc? Its arc felt more real in the end than a lot of the other characters. In other words, we see the remodeling, we see the kind of this makeover of it, but we recognize they're selling it. We just recognize all of these things, and then we see the final set that recreates it. But I just honestly, I feel like some of these people who are making these movies, they really get hot on their own photography and visuals. They forget, we are in iPhone era. Like, every really great picture taker can do this.
That's a good point.
Give me your story. Give me your story.
Yeah.
So there were some elements where I felt like the house just ended up not having any meaning at all.
Yeah.
We even end up spending time at, the sisters.
Yeah.
We spend time...
Both sisters' apartments.
Right.
You're on the beach with Elle Fanning and Stellan Skarsgård. Yeah,
right. Weren't you feeling a little lost in translation with that, too?
Yeah.
Where I was like, are these people supposed to be falling in love?
I know. That was an oddly, euphoric scene. And
yes!
This is when Stellan Skarsgård is first meeting Rachel Kemp, plays by Elle Fanning, and he hasn't offered her the part yet, but she is at the screening of his old film, and then they end up drinking together on the beach until the morning. What I will say, though, is Joachim Trier, he loves to have his character stay out all night because the light in Oslo is so beautiful. And in the summertime, there's 19 hours of daylight, and then the wintertime, there's 6. So light interacts with these Nordic cities in a way that it doesn't for you and I here in New York. Even if you go to Amsterdam, where my sister lives, same thing. 7 or 8 hours of daylight in the winter, but then the summers, the sun goes down at like 9:30, and it's gorgeous, and it's breezy. So let's transition from the house to talk about Oslo. Trier has made 7 films. Most of them are in Oslo. It features widely. My favorite of his films is called Oslo, August 31. It takes place over a single day and night. It's about a drug addict who gets a day off from rehab to go interview for a job. Then he meets old flames and family, and he goes to a party, and it has this really nice arc. But you go to so many locations in Oslo. Same thing with worst person in the world. So did you get a sense of the city? Does it seem interesting? Would you ever want to travel there, or have you been there?
I'm going to be honest. The beach scene, I guess even her press tour, I couldn't figure out where they were. I couldn't figure out if he was going around places, traveling around, there was no sense of it. I love that you're telling me about this. I really did like the shots on the beach. Yeah. But once again, I just kept thinking, are they falling in love? Like, what's this lost in translation scene? Yeah. Where I feel like there's this age gap. He's feeling very gentlemanly, chivalrous, and romantic, but is he her father too? Right. It was confusing.
Right.
I think they got lost in wanting things to feel beautiful. Yeah. And they forgot, what are we trying to say with this scene here?
Maybe it landed differently for me because 2 days before this, I watched 2 or 3 of his films. especially Oslo, August 31st. And so I just had this sense of Oslo, and I could recognize locations from those films.
Yes.
It's one of those. It's a beautiful and elegant city, but it is not a Paris in its grandeur or its flourish.
Right.
It's more simple. It's more. I mean, it's kind of like Amsterdam, not with the canals, but if you go a little outside, the housing is efficient. It's clean. It's quiet. You know, this is not New York. The light is kind of blue and silvery and hazy. Worst Person in the World is a great Oslo movie too. It did make me want to go and visit, but it does seem muted. Like everything is, you know, like his films. It's two people having a conversation about their feelings. You know, it's very. You remember the scene with the two, the kind of climactic scene with the two girls at the end, and they're in the girl's bed, and the camera is just over their shoulder, like up in their hair. You know.
But you know, you're almost scaring me, Joey. You're scaring me because
What about
you
me
know
is
why?
scary?
Because you know when you go on those platforms and you're watching this movie on Netflix, right? And then you finish it and you're like, I mean, okay. And then Netflix is like, did you like that movie?
Oh yeah.
Well, I want to recommend the other. And you're telling me I gotta go watch these other movies
You do right now.
to actually appreciate or understand
I hear
what
you.
I'm looking at in this.
Yeah.
And that should not be the case. And I really hope, listen to me, filmmakers, do not make that mistake in thinking that you know what I mean?
Totally. That's a fair comment. What I will say is, when we saw Highest to Lowest, Spike Lee's remake of Kurosawa, we both thought, okay. And what I thought specifically, because I went through and completed Lee's filmography, is, okay, maybe not his best, but this is a masterful creator, and this is a good inspiration to go back and watch some of his best. And so what I did after that is I went back and watched the 5 or 7 Spike Lee films that I'd never seen.
Right.
And there are some amazing, quirky, bizarre gems in there. So I do want you to see.
No.
Also,
I don't think it's not about like, oh, go and, you know, I don't want to have to go through your whole filmography. I'm here for this one movie. But what I'm saying is like when I'm watching this film, I should have, you know, a very clear sense of like their space and their time. Whether, you know, sometimes with some movies, you know how they'll cheat. They'll show you an airplane go up and then the sound of the air, you know, they'll show you the sound of the airline as you're coming out of the airport, getting in the cab. Sometimes that kind of stuff is cheap, but it helps.
Yeah.
So in this case, you're telling me they're all in Oslo this whole time.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, that also makes sense. But I'm also like, what's this American actress just doing parked here now?
Yeah.
You know, she.
How was that character in that performance? Do you like Elle Fanning? Did she work for you in that part?
I like her.
Yeah,
I think she
was.
Great. Can I be honest? Out of all of the family members, she to me was the most charming. I liked her authenticity.
She was.
I liked that she seemed like an actress that you would actually like, and in a way, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, sure.
Performance capable, but also like a pretty decent person. A little out of touch with the rest of the world. She's got her entourage.
She does.
But she's still she was very charming. I liked her.
I thought she threaded the needle of playing an American actress, but not too broad. It wasn't campy, which we've seen in some other films.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Lost in Translation, do you remember they meet that American actress, the blonde girl in the hotel?
Oh, yes,
and
yes.
she's not very smart.
Yes, and she's funny. I mean, she
funny.
kind of gives them a little their comedy of like...
Of course, but she's satirizing. And, and Elle Fanning wasn't. She was believable.
She was romantic. And that's why I was like, romantic. I'm feeling very lost in translation here.
Yeah.
And I thought she had really good chemistry with, you know, Stellan and what this was. By the time you bring the sisters in... I think there was an element where she's supposed to seem like an American... LA, you know, non-down-to-earth type girl.
Yeah.
And we're the just regular women who work as actresses. And I'm like, you didn't feel enough of that pull apart. She was more charming and very down-to-earth.
Yep.
And they just seemed, like I said, they just seemed like they're on the verge of a nervous breakdown vibe. Like, you know, and you're just like, but wait, it's so like, isn't this supposed to be a great place to live and the vibe's cool? And you're like, you're on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
Right.
But a lot of women have, you know, shitty fathers. I mean,
sure.
You're not You're not like, oh, it's just me, you know. Like by the time you get to her age, by the time you get to the actress, the sister,
Right.
whatever, I just had a really hard time with her like her self-absorption.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
It helps that she had a passing. It helps that she was in grief in some way, but what stage would you call her in? What stage was she in with that grief?
Whenever it was, she just seems stuck. So the stages are anger, denial, acceptance. That's out of order.
Yeah, right? No, you can go through whatever stage you feel like going through at that time.
You know, here's another question.
He was like, those three are top three.
Wait, there's two more.
There's
right?
anger. There's
drinking.
Drinking.
There's texting your ex. Oh no, is that?
Yes, I was gonna say sex. There's sex somewhere in there. Is that a part of denial? No. There's anger, denial, lust.
Denial, anger, bargaining, depression,
and
acceptance. So I would say depression.
Sure. Let's see what happens when she starts bargaining.
Wait, but you made a great point after this, which is that she could only really access her emotions and live fully on stage in roles. She's not able to do it off stage, right? You were say something about that.
So there's this scene. It's like she doesn't really cry. She's very together most of the time, or she's running out of the house. But when she gets on that stage, that woman knows how to break down in tears, scream, grab hold. And so there's these moments where you see that she really knows how to channel those feelings and rage, whatever, through her performances. And I'm going to be honest, I sometimes I think about that. I remember, Judi Dench. Was it Judi Dench? I think it was Judi Dench. Somebody was like, this actress said, when you get into parts, you got to do this. And she's like, what the hell are they talking about? We're playing pretend, And I mean, that's really it. They're like, you don't have to go that far. We are just trying to play pretend.
From Judi Dench, who was playing Shakespeare in French in the 1960s and has been pretty compelling in all these roles.
I think what she was speaking to is like when actors get into bad behavior and they blame, being in their role. Who else did this? The guy from Succession. The dad,
Brian Cox.
Yes, Brian Cox is like, what the fuck?
I know.
We're just acting. We're playing pretend here.
Yes. Well, that brings to mind a comment that the director James Mangold made in interviews a year ago as he was promoting the Bob Dylan movie with Timothy Chalamet that I didn't care about. What's that called? Complete Unknown.
Yeah.
So James Mangold said,
Complete Unknown movie.
Exactly. It's the difference between acting sad and being sad. And he said that his directorial strategy is to encourage performers to be the emotion as opposed to what Judi Dench is describing as pretending. And I can't really tell. Is Stellan sad or just acting sad? Nora, is Renate Reinsve, is she being sad? Is she acting sad? What do you think?
Let me put it like this. I think there are some roles that are so far outside of our everyday psyche that actors really do have to go and just build the log cabin and go live in that and stop taking baths. You know what I mean?
Right. Like Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes. Or, if you had to play, in Schindler's List and you're the Nazi, like, these are things that we don't do in our everyday where you're just doing shooting practice on people. You might need to go into a very dark place and channel that role.
Right.
But when you're playing Tony Soprano, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Do you go out to restaurants and still act like Tony Soprano? That may help you. You're doing
I think he kind of did.
Yeah, I think he did. No, it was something he did.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get it. You have to play this role for the next 7 years, and it might be easier to live in that role and let those lines breathe. I get that, but there are some roles that I think that actors are talented enough that you ought to be able to reach for, and what the hell are daddy issues for anyway? If not to put on a performance.
Let's talk about performances, because Stellan Skarsgård has made 68 films, close to 70 films. He was Bootstrap Bill in Pirates. He was Martin Vanger, the icy villain in Girl with a Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
He was is that your favorite?
That was my favorite.
He was the rebel leader Luthen Rail in the acclaimed Andor by Tony Gilroy. He was member in Good Will Hunting. He was the professor
Oh my God, he's
yes.
so fun in Good Will Hunting.
And then he's been in 6 of Lars von Trier's films, from Breaking the Waves to Nymphomaniac. Lars von Trier, he's the provocateur. He wants to drag you through sadness and despair so much that critics have called him sadistic. And Skarsgård was the Baron in Dune. Do you remember? He was that huge beast of a man who was submerging himself in oil. So talk about a shapeshifter.
And you don't want to call out one of his best performances.
Tell me.
Mamma Mia.
Holy shit. How dare I?
Here
the
we
Meryl
go again.
Oh my God. Forgive me.
The man's an actor. Come
Stellan
on.
Skarsgård.
If you're not doing pretend, he's doing pretend. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
He's playing pretend.
Okay, so that leads into my next question. In One Battle After Another, you've got these very talented female performers: Teyana Taylor, Chase Infinity, Regina Hall.
Yes.
And they didn't get as rich of parts as the two main guys, Leonardo DiCaprio and Sean Penn. Fast forward to Sentimental Value.
It could be debated, Joey. That could be debated.
I mean, they don't have as much screen time. Teyana Taylor's thrown out of the movie after 45 minutes.
I know, but she had a role to really sink her teeth
she
into.
did, but the question I'm asking is...
It's not about the time you're on that screen. It's what you do with it.
Well, my question is, it's how richly the character is written in the screenplay by these male directors. So, this is just my opinion, but Paul Thomas Anderson is interested in fucked up men. He's not interested in women as much as he is in these men, if you look at his filmography. Joachim Trier has featured women in these lead roles, like Worst Person in the World. But with this film, doesn't Stellan Skarsgård have the most to play with, the most to chew with? Or am I kind of reading into that too much?
No, I think they all had enough to chew and to play with. I think what he does with the role is much more interesting. It's less...
so it wasn't a script difference, it was a performance difference.
Yeah, because I do think sometimes when we have characters who seem to feel sorry for themselves, they steal all of our ability to provide that empathy. You know what I mean?
That's so well said.
And so I feel like he doesn't do that to us, where he's like, I'm going to
make... But Renate did. She did.
Yes, and I think that's kind of like how she connected with this character. But characters who feel sorry for themselves all day always exhaust us.
Great point.
As they sometimes do in real life sometimes. You know, you're just like... Please stop feeling so, it ain't that bad. That's just a very natural reaction I think we all have. And so since her character took that direction, we just didn't have any more to give her. But Stellan, we had more.
Great point.
He just showed up to work and kept going, and he doesn't, he doesn't like pity. He doesn't seem to want your pity.
That's right. He's not evoking that enough.
Right.
Yes.
But she kind of wants... I don't think she wants pity in this story. But what I do think is that the way that the director captured her... Do you see what I'm saying? So when she's interacting with people, she's absolutely not this weight around everybody's freaking neck. You know, she's holding back those emotions.
Yes.
But when we see some of her, the way the director captures her, I'm like, what? Like she's feeling sorry for herself, and now I'm supposed to? That's exhausting. So I think maybe that's something he should think about a little bit.
Maybe, No, I hear that. I want to ask a question about story, but we're going to get into spoiler territory. So if you have not yet seen Sentimental Value and you want to save it, go take a watch and then come back and listen, and we will be right back. So, the grandmother goes away to a camp. She was ratted out by a neighbor, by the way. She gets back. She kills herself. In the house, right? She hangs herself?
Yes.
Fast forward to the 80s. Stellan Skarsgård is a shitty husband. He leaves. And then the girl's mother kills herself. Right?
Hold on. She doesn't kill herself.
The mother doesn't. No. Oh, no, because the mother dies later.
She dies, and I think she was sick. Yeah, she was sick.
Okay, sorry. Jesus, that was a misunderstanding.
No, it just felt like
Okay,
that's what would happen if you
right. Because in the screenplay, there's a pivotal scene as Borg is walking Rachel Kemp through the house, and they say in the screenplay, this girl will go in and kill herself with a cord in the same room in which the grandmother did.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the very end. There is a scene, so we find out that Nora finally agrees to do this film, which feels a little bit easy for me, and that Borg gets everything he wants, but that's okay. They walk us through the house, and then we think, the audience, that it's real. You caught on. I didn't catch on. And she goes into the room, and she has a rope with her, and she closed the door, and we're all gasping. Then it's revealed that this is a soundstage, and this is Borg's film. So how did the ending sit with you? Did you think it was clever? Did you think it was cheap?
Okay, this is that moment where you asked me, how did I know? I was like, when she started getting something out of the cabinet for the kid, I was like, oh, she's on set.
Because she wouldn't do that.
No, I just felt like there was something about their interaction.
Right.
She doesn't have any kids. I just automatically knew she wasn't at that house. We also see maybe 5 minutes earlier, they're remodeling this house.
It.
So I'm just kind of like, they didn't sell this thing and now they're cooking in it.
Yeah.
You know, like.
So you caught on, and I was feeling sadness that they changed this old, beautiful house because I was duped, and I thought, oh, so they're going to sell it, and they renovated it, and they took the heart and soul out of it. But it makes sense because it's a soundstage, you know.
Yeah.
By the way, that is the soundstage that Trier used. It's at the production company, Gateway. And here's my problem with the end. You brought these two characters together. They had a reconciliation, but we didn't see the work that they did. She didn't say, there wasn't a scene where she said, Dad, I'll do this movie, but let's get a few things straight. Let's reconcile the relationship. So that felt like a gap.
Or you never see them correct their communication in a way that you think they're capable of working together.
Better said.
So.
And at the end, I really wanted a hug. Don't you think that director...
Wait, you wanted a hug?
Yes, the camera's pulling away. You know the movie is over. He hugs the little boy whose mom he convinced to let him be in the film as she was in his many decades earlier. This director wouldn't have been overcome by emotion, that he would have held his estranged daughter and said, thank you for doing this?
No.
Okay. So that felt in line with their character to you.
I wouldn't even say that. I really agree with you. I don't know how they're working together.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, that role, maybe she's getting way too method into it and she's very depressed for real. But I couldn't understand it because they don't come to any kind of character arc conclusion about why their relationship didn't work or who there's no repair.
Yeah.
It's just carrying on like a family. And like I said, go back to Birdman.
Okay.
This is so much easier to like absorb as you're watching Michael Keaton, deal with the critics, and he's dealing with the co-stars, and he's dealing with his lovers, and he's like, and his daughter is very clearly like, my dad is the biggest asshole I know, but you understand how they're working together. There's something layered into the roles that make you go, well, they're just going to fall into old patterns again. These people don't have that pattern. I didn't get it, but at the same time, it wasn't because the actors' performances were like bad, or lacking. It's the storytelling.
It is. And by the way, to reference your comment from a few minutes ago, right before this ending montage, we see Stellan's just his figure of his face looking at the screen, and then there's a lighting change, and it washes over, and then the face morphs into one of his daughters, and then there's a change, and it morphs into the other's daughter.
You were clapping
and I was
in
like,
the theater.
Get the fuck
you
out
were
of
like,
here,
yes,
man.
in that theater.
he is a director of empathy. He has a light touch. He doesn't use these stupid gimmicks. Why did he do that? What was that about?
Because this would be really cool, Joey.
I don't like it.
This would be really. What did you want the ending to be, Joey?
Like
what did you want the ending to
be?
I
I don't need a happy ending every time.
No. I didn't mean happy. Just what did you want to end with?
I mean, the cleverness of, this isn't the real house, it's a soundstage, fine. But I did want a hug, but maybe that would have changed everything. Maybe there's something Norwegian in that or Scandinavian in that. Maybe it's cultural.
I wanted not. I could have kept this ending. I just needed the dad to go to her last theater performance-y thing or see him in the back or in the audience or something. And that would have put something there.
Okay, that might have functioned
and then it would have functioned for me.
Yes.
But
I hear you.
other than that, I thought this was fine. I knew this was heading this way.
Yep.
Right? We knew Rachel Kemp was going to drop out of the role.
Totally.
You know. And we knew that Nora was ultimately going to take it.
Yep.
So what does that mean about this film? Because we knew it was heading there. But it was... Do you understand?
Well, and it goes back to how we opened the conversation, which is that I'm looking for why this was such a huge hit with festival audiences, you know, and it's going to pick up some nominations, might get some awards. It'll probably be one of the 10 Best Picture nominations. I'm just guessing based off of the awards run that it has had, you know.
This is so confusing.
It's a light Best Picture year anyway. You know, there's not a lot of entries, right? I mean, to my mind, it's Sinners. It's no other film than Sinners, but...
I feel really sad about this year though, because no. I feel like even though Oscar season, there's always films that you're just excited happen.
Sure.
Did this need to happen? If this film didn't happen, what did this film do for you where you're like, we needed this?
Well, I like to look at it through the lens of the director's chair, and that's a mixed metaphor, but I had seen some of his films and loved them 48 hours before, so I was really excited. You know, I was like, let's move this up. Let's go see it together. Let's really treat this intentionally.
Yeah. You wanted to hold hands and everything.
I really did, yeah.
You were
honestly.
ordering everything at the movie theater. You wanted to pack some dollars into this.
That's right. That's right. I don't know. Let's talk about some parallels. You mentioned Birdman, which I had not thought of, which I think is a great parallel. In this New Yorker profile, Trier mentions that he has taken inspiration from what he called the beautiful period work of some of Paul Thomas Anderson films, like The Master from 2012 and Phantom Thread from 2017.
Okay.
And even with One Battle, I will tell you, the period is right on. The way it looks and sounds, the costumes, the nomenclature, the script, the period is great. But this film, it has some period scenes, but very few. Like, there's some in the 40s, there's some in the 80s, but there are very few. Any other parallels, any other films that this made you think of, either that were better or films that you didn't love in the past? Because if I'm
not mistaken, Lost in Translation was also kind of an award.
Yeah.
Little sleeper hit.
Yeah. Sofia Coppola's film.
Birdman also kind of showed up. So there's some parallels there. Can I tell you what I think this film was for?
Yes.
I do think this film was meant to try to launch the career of the actress who plays Norberg. I think this is her film to get some attention, and I expect to see her playing a English role in some period drama or some period piece.
Interesting. Okay.
But
this is Lilius, Inga Ibsdotter Lilius, the
I think
sister.
this is a part of her portfolio. This is meant to get her some attention into the main public.
Okay.
I'll also add in Agnes, maybe also be showing up in.
She's Inga. So the sad sister is Renate Reinsve.
Yes.
Her breakout was Worst Person in the World, and then this one. So you expect her to be sort of a period darling after this?
Yeah, I think both of these ladies are supposed to be seen, and people are supposed to go, I like their face, I like their body, I like their movement, and they're going to be playing some weird Marie Antoinette whore who saves the revolution.
Right.
This is for their career. This is not, to me, a real movie.
Okay, you heard it here first.
No, it's just not. And I was like, oh. And so the whole time I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is for her. This is for both of them to have a portfolio. So I did like what you mentioned, which is that this director wanted to showcase these women. He wanted to tell this story. He pulled in some little, did Stellan really need to do this movie? Not really. But this is about them as a community supporting what they can produce as actors. Right. And I expect to see these ladies show up. They're going to do period dramas first. And then after period dramas, you know what they're going to be doing next?
What?
They're going to either do some weird Mission Impossible type shit where they're gonna be you already know this, where they're gonna be playing the other spy, but this is meant for them to get an acting role.
Because this is outside the Hollywood system. I also read that the film industry in Norway was very small until the 70s, when Norway started exporting oil and some of its natural resources. New money started flowing in. They started making more films. So Trier, he's going to get more Hollywood movie money. She's going to get more Hollywood movie. You're totally right.
Yeah, this is what this is for, but this is not a real movie.
Yep.
I'm sorry. We've seen this before. It's really not special. There were some things that went right, and there were some things that went wrong. I love the interiors. Thank you, IKEA. And I love Design Within Reach showing up and filling in some of the blanks. But this is not a real movie. Sorry.
I hear you. This is Joachim Trier's Sentimental Value, Festival Darling. Watch for it at the Oscars. Let us know what you think. Drop us a comment in the comment section. And we will see you next time, where, Mia, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a couple different movies in one episode. We're going to do sort of a fall review, and we're going to talk about your favorite film of the year, Die My Love, which you just adored. We're going to talk about...
I just wanted to support the films that you feel are great.
It's true. That one was really deep in my heart.
It was deep in your heart.
Talk about a few other ones. Nia DaCosta's Hedda. We're going to mention Linklater's Blue Moon and a couple others. So join us next time on Do You See What I Mean?